Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz, chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello, we're at the BBC's hallowed and historic Maida Vale studios, where so much great music has been made down the years. With me are three Counterpoint competitors about to be tested in our College of Musical Knowledge. Let's meet our trio.
Hello, I'm Mark ADNET and I'm a retired civil servant from Somerset.
Hi, I'm David GREENWOOD. I'm a project manager from Surrey.
Hello, my name is Richard Messingham. I'm a head of communications from Leytonstone, East London.
You are all very welcome, gentlemen. You're going to be tested on the breadth of your musical knowledge as well as its depth and detail. You genuinely never know what you're going to get on Counterpoint. In the opening round, the questions are worth 2 points each. If the person asked can't answer correctly, the others can pick up the question for 1 bonus point. Good luck, everyone. We go in alphabetical surname order, so would you take today's first question, Mark ADNET. One of the most recorded songs of the 21st century, Hallelujah, is well known in versions by Jeff Buckley, Alexander Burke, and Rufus Wainwright, among others. But who originally composed the song?
Pass.
And Richard says...
Leonard Cohen.
For the bonus point. David GREENWOOD, for your first clip of music, you're going to hear a famous piece of chamber music. I'd like you to tell me which precise rank of nobility is most closely associated with it.
That's the Archduke Trio.
That's correct. By Beethoven, we heard it played by the trio Zingara. Richard Messingham, from an archduke to a prince. What was the name of the film directed by and starring Prince that featured on its soundtrack many of the songs from his 1986 album Parade, including Kiss and Girls and Boys?
Purple Rain?
No, it wasn't Purple Rain. Can anyone pick up on that? Another Prince movie? Under the Cherry Moon. Mark ADNET, you're about to hear part of a ballet score. I'd like you to tell me which city is named in its title.
Gaieté Parisienne Offenbach.
That
Paris.
is right. We heard the National French Orchestra conducted by Lauren Mazel. The answer is Paris. David GREENWOOD, the lovers Christine and Raoul are the central characters in which very successful stage musical with a Parisian setting?
An American in Paris.
Well, that's Richard Messingham's comment on your answer. He knew you were wrong, but is he right?
La Bohème.
No. Okay, it's down to Mark ADNET.
No.
Can you? No, you don't even want to go for it. Okay, well, I'm sure the audience knows, and the answer is Phantom of the Opera, the longest-running show in the entire history of Broadway. Richard Messingham, here's music from a major television series of the last 12 months. For 2 points, I'd like its title and the name of the German-born film composer who created it, with collaborators Jacob Shea and David Fleming.
Blue Planet and Hans Zimmer?
Yes, it's Blue Planet 2, and it is Hans Zimmer. So you get both points. Mark ADNET. Earlier this year, 2018, Martin Brabants and the BBC Symphony Orchestra gave the first performance in over 80 years of the Symphony in B-flat by a British composer who withdrew the work shortly after its composition in the 1930s. Which composer?
Donald Tovey?
I'm sorry, it wasn't. And Richard Messingham says...
Michael Tippett.
And that's right, you get the bonus point. David Greenwood, back to you. A British comedy film is currently in production telling the story of a group of men from Port Isaac in Cornwall who went from singing in the village harbour to signing with a major record label, having a top 10 album and appearing on the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury. After we've heard them, I'd like you to tell me their name.
Pass around the grog, me boys, and never mind the storm. Drink the good old liquor down, and then we'll call for more. For 'tis he who will not merry, merry be, shall never taste of joy. Sing, sing, the Cape's in view, and forward, my brave boys.
Sorry, no idea.
Does anyone else have any idea? It's Fisherman's Friends. The film is due for release next year. Richard Messingham. Meanwhile, at the other end of the British Isles, which Scottish musician became the youngest ever recipient of the Queen's Medal for Music in 2017?
Nicola Benedetti.
Yes, for 2 points. The guess was a good one. Mark ADNET, back to you. Your next clip is from a classic recording of Sviatoslav Richter's legendary recital at Carnegie Hall in New York on Boxing Day 1960. He began by performing this C major piano sonata. Can you tell me who composed it?
Mozart?
I'm afraid it's not Mozart. David Greenwood says...
Haydn?
It is Haydn for the bonus point. And David, here's your own question. Which English cathedral city connects choral works by Sir William Walton and Leonard Bernstein?
Chichester.
That's right, the Chichester Service and the Chichester Psalms. Finally, in this opening round, Richard Messingham. The singer of this song is terrified by a large black bird. In which famous song cycle?
Eine Krähe war mit mir aus der Stadt gezogen, ist bis heute für mein Haupt geflogen. Krähe, wunderliches Tier, wirst mich nicht verlassen. Meinst wohl, bald als Beute hier.
Is it the Raven?
I'm sorry, that's not right. We're looking for a song cycle. And David Greenwood says?
That's from Winterreise.
That is from Winterreise. And, of course, the artists were Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau and Alfred Brendel. So you get the bonus point. And at the end of the opening round, the scores stand as follows. With 2 points, it's Mark ADNET, and tied with 6 points each, David Greenwood and Richard Messingham. Because you picked subjects for the next round in the order of your scores in the first, we have to break the tie. I'll ask the two of you a tie-break question. The first to buzz with the correct answer will get the advantage. If you don't answer correctly, your opponent will have the chance to take it. Here comes your tie-break question, David and Richard. Which Radio 3 presenter appeared in the 13th series of Strictly Come Dancing? And David Greenwood says,
Katie Derham.
and he's right to break the tie. Round 2 is where I give our competitors a choice of 5 topics on which they'll answer a set of individual questions. They've had no prior warning of these categories. Some of them are about specific artists or genres, while others are a little more enigmatic and conceal questions on a variety of musical styles. They'll choose the topics in the order of their scores so far. Today's choices are pastoral music, classical fire, ghost stories, one-act operas, Michael Palin, and music. David, you are in the lead at the moment. What would you like?
I think I'll go for classical fire.
And Richard, what's your choice?
Pastoral music.
Now that leaves 3 for Mark ADNET, and they are ghost stories, one-act operas, Michael Palin, and music.
One-act operas.
One-act operas. The contestant currently in 3rd place goes first. So, Mark ADNET, you are about to get questions on one-act operas. Which of the operas in Wagner's epic Ring Cycle has only one act?
Das Rheingold.
That is correct for 2 points. This song is one of the highlights from Mascagni's 1890 one-act opera, Cavalleria Rusticana. Your question comes after you've heard it.
Viva il vino spumeggiante nel bicchiere scintillante, come il riso dell'amante mite infonde il giubilo. Viva il vino spumeggiante nel bicchiere scintillante, come il riso dell'amante mite infonde il giubilo. Viva il vino che è sincero e che ci allieta ogni pensiero e che affoga l'umor nero.
Cavalleria Rusticana is traditionally performed as part of a double bill with another Italian work, which you'll get a point for naming and a further point for naming the composer.
I Pagliacci and Leoncavallo.
For 2 points. Sir William Walton's one-act opera The Bear, premiered at the 1967 Aldeburgh Festival, is based on a short story by a Russian writer best known for his plays. Which writer?
Nikolai Gogol.
No, I'm sorry, it's Chekhov. The following piece of ballet music opens which comic opera by Gustav Holst?
Perfect Fool.
It is The Perfect Fool for 2 points. Ravel's one-act opera, L'Heure Espagnole, The Spanish Hour, is set in what sort of commercial premises?
A cafe.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's a clockmaker's. What profession is held by the man who sings this song?
The rich attorney, he jumped with joy and replied to me fond professions. He shall reap the reward if you pluck me, boy, at the Bailey and Middlesex sessions. You will soon get used to her looks, said he, and a very nice girl you'll find her. She may very well pass for 43 in the dusk with the light behind her. She may very well pass for 43 in the dusk with the light behind her.
Pass, actually, there.
Well, we had a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
The profession was judge. It's from Trial by Jury by Gilbert and Sullivan, their only one-act opera. Here is your last question on one-act operas. Described as a conversation piece, Richard Strauss's last opera takes nearly 2 hours and a half to perform. There is no interval. Which opera is that?
Capriccio.
That is correct. It is sometimes performed in a 2-act version. And Mark ADNET, in that round you scored 8 points. Added to your previous 2, you now have 10 points. Richard Messingham, here are your questions on pastoral music. Awakening of cheerful feelings on arrival in the countryside. Scene by the brook. Merry gathering of country folk. Shepherd song, cheerful and grateful feelings. Which movement from Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony was missing from that list?
Storm?
Yes, we will go with that, thunderstorm, but that's worth 2 points. Your first clip is from a pastoral symphony by a 20th century composer. Which Englishman wrote this?
Ralph Vaughan Williams.
That is correct. It's his Symphony No. 3. Pastoral Symphony is also the title of an orchestral work from 2000 by an Australian composer who's best known for his operatic version of Hamlet, which was premiered at Glyndebourne in 2017. Can you name him?
Patrick Doyle.
I'm sorry, it was Brett Dean. In which oratorio will you find this so-called pastoral symphony?
Handel's Messiah.
That is correct. Which pastoral song by Purcell was famously recorded in June 1929 by the Manchester Children's Choir and Sir Hamilton Harty, an event celebrated in Victoria Wood's musical That Day We Sang?
Pass.
Nymphs and Shepherds. Which composer wrote this song about a shepherd on a rock?
Guessing Schubert.
And that's a good guess. We heard Edith Mattis and Shepherd on a Rock, and that was written by Schubert. Finally, the British composer Elizabeth Lutyens, herself a disciple of Schoenberg and Webern, witheringly compared the pastoral music of Vaughan Williams and his ilk to which common but unpleasant feature of the English countryside?
Cowpat music?
That's right. She called it cowpat music. And so, Richard Messingham, in that round you scored 10 points, and added to your previous 6, you now have 16. David Greenwood, here are your questions on classical fire. Fire on all sides, earthquake. Translated from the Italian, these are the stage directions which accompany the title character's demise in which 18th century opera?
Don Giovanni.
That is correct for 2 points. Which two characters are undergoing a trial by fire in this extract from another Mozart opera?
Pamina and Tamino.
In the Magic Flute. Quite right for 2 points. Which fire-related spectacle is the subject of the very last of Debussy's Preludes for Piano?
Fireworks.
That's right. Which composer wrote this orchestral impression of fireworks in 1908, 5 years before Debussy's Prelude?
Stravinsky.
That's right. 2 points. The ritual fire dance is often played as a solo showpiece by pianists and string players. It comes originally from a ballet first performed in 1915. Which ballet?
The Firebird.
No, I'm afraid not. It's El Amor Brujo, Love the Magician by Defia. In which opera of 1926 will you find this singing fireplace?
Je réchauffe les bons, gare, je brûle les méchants, gare, gare.
L'Enfant et Sortilège.
That's right, by Ravel. And finally, which famous piece of music related to the theme of this round was written for a performance in Green Park on the 27th of April, 1749, to celebrate the signing of the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle?
The music for the Royal Fireworks.
By Handel. That is worth 2 points. And let us see David Greenwood. In that round, you scored 12 points. Added to your previous 6, you now have 18 points. After the individual round, let's recap on how the scores now stand. In third place with 10 points is Mark ADNET. Lying second with 16 points is Richard Messingham. And our leader with just one round to go with 18 points is David Greenwood. It's close. Anyone could win. It's on the buzzer in the quick-fire final round. A correct answer wins you 1 point, but you lose a point if you buzz in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. So, fingers poised, here we go. Which song gave Kylie Minogue her first British #1? Richard Messingham.
Especially for you?
No, it's I Should Be So Lucky, -1. Which Wagner opera features the Flower Maidens? And Mark Adnet says...
Parsifal.
And he's right. Name the country of origin of the band leader Edmundo Ross and the Simón Bolívar Orchestra. David Greenwood.
Venezuela.
Yes. Beethoven's Piano Sonata Opus 27, number 2 is known by which nickname? Piano Sonata Opus 27, number 2. And Mark Adnet says?
Moonlight.
And he's right. What was the name of the late Tom Petty's backing band? Tom Petty and the... Heartbreakers. The songs Cell Block Tango and All That Jazz come from which musical? David Greenwood?
Chicago.
You're right. What type of musical instrument is a shofar? And David Greenwood says...
It's a sort of horn.
That's right, a ram's horn. Which anthem or patriotic song with music by Thomas Arne first appeared in a mask and Richard Messingham says...
Rule Britannia.
And he's right. Which opera by Verdi opens at the Garter Inn? And Mark says...
Falstaff.
And he's right. Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook were the principal songwriters in which British group? Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook were songwriters. Mark Adnet.
Squeeze.
You're right. Lady in Satin was the last album released in her lifetime by which American singer? Lady in Satin. David Greenwood.
Billie Holiday.
Correct for a point. Which composer is sometimes known as the French Strauss? And Richard Messingham says...
Offenbach.
No, I'm sorry. It's Waldteufel. In which country was the pianist Glenn Gould born? And Mark Adnet says...
Canada.
For the point. Who performed the theme song for the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me? Richard Messingham.
Carly Simon.
That's right. What was Chopin's first name? David Greenwood?
Frederick.
Yes. Who wrote the melodies of the songs A Fine Romance, Old Man River, and Smoke? And David Greenwood says...
Jerome Kern.
For the point. Which British instrumental group were originally known as the Drifters when they formed in 1958? And David Greenwood says...
The Shadows.
For the point. And finally, after being invited to see a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in Hamburg, who reportedly tweeted, "Everybody walked in to see the opera, then the opera ended." Donald J. Trump. Bringing us to the end of this Counterpoint contest with the final scores as follows. Third with 15 points is Mark ADNET. Second with 16 points is Richard Messingham. And our winner with 25 points is David Greenwood. Very well done, David Greenwood. He'll be back to compete in the semifinals in a few weeks' time. Thank you to the other two for a most energetic contest. Another trio of Counterpoint competitors will be airing their musical knowledge in our next heat. Don't forget, you can find a full list of the music played in today's program on the Counterpoint web pages after the broadcast. And you'll also find a link there to a download, which you can take with you wherever you go. From BBC Maida Vale, until next time, thank you for listening. Goodbye.